I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that trucks while the rich ghouls fucks. I am Rachel Quirky Shank.
And
Fight the power.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. Someday I won't step on your intro. But today
Living wages. You know, it's fine.
Today's not that day. We have an
I
announcement.
live for our chaotic energy. Like, let me just say.
It's true.
I live for it.
We are halfway there, folks. I mean, we've got a lot more to go than halfway, but halfway
Yeah.
for what affects this podcast. The writers have a new contract, and it is actually fair and decent. Let's go.
This strike, all about us.
Yeah, the strike all
So
about
good it
us.
does it. This strike has been all about this show and us not being able to talk about things.
Correct.
Never
Nothing else.
forget it.
Nothing
Nope.
else.
We're not. It's important to fight for a living wage and respecting workers.
Yes. And so
I'm just kidding about it being about us.
Yes.
It's not.
So the writer strike is over. However, the writers are still striking along with the actors, and the actors strike is what affects the content that we can cover. So, and then just the solidarity side of it too beyond that. So we are going to continue on our path of covering non-struck work until the screen actors have gotten to an agreement that they are happy with it as well. So in that spirit, I just wanted to update everyone. So keep fighting, keep staying strong. We have a ton of shows on the network who are currently not even putting out content until everything's resolved, and so we appreciate all that solidarity as well. And I have a lot of friends who are both actors and writers, so it was important to us as well, and so we will continue down that path. So we will see what the future holds. But all of that said,
Punch a capitalist in the face is what we're saying.
yes, exactly,
Punch him right in the jaw.
right in the jaw.
As hard as you can.
In Minecraft.
Satire.
In
Minecraft. In
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Those-
Definitely in Minecraft.
Those unfamiliar dulcet tones that you just heard are of the incredible Adam Bucceri. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Hello, and I'm over here
Hello.
also, in addition to the strikes that you just talked about, also celebrating that Disney animators went on strike today, I think. So,
Ooh.
Hell
yeah.
Get it. Get
Get
what you
it.
need.
And
Get it.
Adam, thank you for joining us. I'm so happy that you're
Thank you,
here.
Adam. Yeah.
We're going to get into all the cool stuff that you do in a little bit. But as always, we're going to start with the things that we have been consuming, because that's really what this is all about, mass consumption.
Yeah.
Rachel, who's going first this time?
You know what? I'll go first.
All right, let's go.
'cause
Let's go.
Tale as old as time. Bitch been busy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bitches be busy over here.
I got less busy over the last year. Rachel, opposite direction.
I just more and more and more things, more stuff, more doing. Now that the world is opening up again, I am once again on my
Rachel
back
is
on my
also
bullshit.
opening up again.
yes.
Hey Rachel, if we open for business over here, and business is great. Unfortunately I've mostly just been watching Struck work. In my downtime, so I can't really bring anything to discuss in that regard. But I would very much like to talk about the mass production that I did over the last weekend or so. Time's a lake. It doesn't matter.
No.
My school, my wrestling school, Technique to Training, also runs a little promotion called Queer Punk Outlaws. It is an incredible piece of indie wrestling and burlesque. It is really the synthesis of all these things that I truly love deep in my heart. And we did an incredible 2-show event situation. So night one was a regular Queer Punk Outlaws at the secret location where we do our secret underground wrestling. And it was a night of incredible fights, incredible burlesque performances. My wrestling underling, the wrestler I manage, Charles Stunning, is
he
set.
a hench person or a goon or like a
No,
lackey?
she is a fabulous burlesque dancer.
Uh-huh.
With shocking pink hair. who looks a lot like me, but is not me.
Clearly.
Definitely not
Obviously
me.
not.
Right.
It's clearly 100% not
A
me.
legally distinct.
Yes. Charles's hair goes up. My hair goes down.
Exactly.
We are completely different humans.
Totally
Very
different
good.
people.
You may never see us in the same room, but we are definitely different people. She finally challenged the cinema-based wrestler Jay George to a fight.
Nice.
On that Friday. Very exciting stuff. So Charles is going to fight Jay George in January of next year. It's going to be silly. I hope that Charles spanks Jay George because he's been a very rude, naughty boy for quite some time.
It doesn't really feel like a punishment, but you know.
No.
I am sorry to slow down the pace. Can you explain what a cinema-based wrestler
yeah.
is?
So when Jay George comes into the ring, he sometimes has the slate clacker.
Oh, of
and
course.
will redo takes on a match.
I think I've seen him
he'll
before.
call
I've seen him
cut.
before, yeah.
And he's been a real naughty one running around QPO acting like he's the director of the whole situation. He is not. Frankly, he's not. And he has had a lot of umbrage with the burlesque that has appeared in QPO. He's been very rude to them at the end of their acts, trying to like cut them from the final edits.
Wow.
Of the shows. Yeah, it's
Rude.
What a menace.
it's been very what a menace, truly.
Someone needs to take him down a peg.
Yeah, and Charles is going to now, hopefully.
Yeah.
She's training up, getting her shit together. Hopefully gonna make mincemeat of Jay George.
Wait,
I hope.
when you said the words cinema-based wrestler, I did imagine someone coming out into the wrestling ring dressed as Roger Ebert. And then,
Oh my gosh.
someone, picks him up, flips him upside down, about to pile drive him, and then just, Ebert there is just 2 stars, and then BAM!
I actually love that. I want that gimmick to exist. Jay George, after Charles gives you an attitude adjustment, please take this idea, do that. Be great.
That one's free.
Please have it. Anything's better than you just lurking around. But the next day was a huge day-long festival of music, burlesque, wrestling. It went for 8 hours. And I was there. Charles was the MC. It was super, super cool. And it was a festival called Faggot Fest.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. So it was just a cavalcade of queer bands, queer fighters, queer burlesque performers. And it was legendary. It was an incredible day of community, of celebration, of moshing, of everything. I was so excited to see just really great local bands that some I'd never heard of before, some that I had known for a long time. The highlight for me was a performance by the band Them, which is the band fronted by Dave of Dave's Lesbian Bar over here in Astoria.
Nice.
So it was a supreme honor, to be there and be in the space and get to do that. There were some really great no-ring fights. Really good standout one was the Money Dragon Angelo Carter versus the Prospect Kid. The Prospect Kid. Oh, wait, hold on. I have to. I'm very tired. The Prospect Kid. We'll do that.
Just do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. It was my first experience seeing a no-ring match.
Oh, nice.
Which, for those out there listening who do not know, wrestling usually takes place in a ring, and that ring is got a little bit of support for falling on your back, but a no ring means there isn't a ring. So when somebody body slams you, you do it on the ground. So that was terrifying, watching my friends and colleagues take pretty crazy bumps on this wood floor over at the bar Trans Picos. Nuts. Also the Prospect Kid, Jay Karma. It came to me in a dream. Thank you, Dream. I love you. My partner literally just DM'd me the words. Just shot me
Judith.
Jay Karma.
Judith is a saint.
Judith is a saint. Judith is Saint.
true.
That's so good.
Also, yeah. So amazing.
A little bird told
this is
me.
Great. This is great content, y'all.
Perfect.
Me losing my fucking brain, which I also did by the end of that day. It was a very, very long day. I was so dog tired, but so full in my heart. You know, it was like head empty, heart full. Yeah, it was. I really hope that we have the opportunity to make that an annual event because it was just incredible. Just so much fun. Such a good spirit. Such a good energy from the crowd. 10 out of 10 would do again.
It seemed really awesome. I think Judith was kittening some of that.
Yeah, Judith was the kitten,
As a
and
kitten.
she was a little maid kitten in
Yeah.
a little maid outfit.
I mean, Judith's been around on the internet
Are
enough.
you
Like, why wouldn't
kidding
you do
me?
that? Yeah. Of course.
Hello.
Okay, are we still wrestling? They're wrestling in the
Yes.
little kitty outfit.
No,
that
she
was the
wasn't
girl.
wresling, but she does wrestle.
Yes, she does.
Also,
She's
She
the
is a
badass
wrestler,
barista.
but not in this
she's
specific
the,
instance.
the badass, beautiful brawling barista.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best.
Judy Bruise.
Judy Bruce.
Judy Bruise. Yeah, it was great. So sorry everyone that I once again am not talking about something that you can see yet. But you'll one day be able to see the Queer Punk Outlaws.
That's true.
There is footage that exists, and it will be released eventually.
Eventually. And we will
Yeah.
direct you towards that once it's available. But yeah, it sounds like a
Oh,
lot of
heck
fun.
yeah.
I saw photos
Oh,
from
yeah.
it. Actually, while you were talking, I looked up the flyer for it, which I'm going to send to the person who designs our show art that will not be named, just to use for the show art, because I don't want to set Rachel off.
Yeah, I think I have enough anger at J. George.
Okay,
Let's not bring up.
mention the C name. But
No.
yeah, it looks like it was a lot of fun. So I'm glad that you had a good time and that.
Yeah.
I love that you keep finding these ways to merge burlesque and wrestling, which we've always talked about goes together.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you continue to find events that also do it is really cool.
Yeah, and the wrestler CPA debuted a burlesque act at
Yes.
Faggot Fest, which I and Charles helped workshop.
That's
so
amazing.
you
Love
know, I'm also a bit of a burlesque coach, I guess.
I guess so. You just do it
Weirdly
all.
enough.
Well, I guess let's focus in on the big event since that's what I've got a flyer
Yeah.
for. So if you had to sum up QPO Presents Faggot Fest in just 3 words, and you couldn't use any of those words I just said,
Wow.
what 3 words would you use to describe that event and your weekend?
So epically queer.
There you go. Cut and dry. Print it. Do people print things like that? I don't know. It felt old-timey. It felt right.
Wait,
don't know.
I guess I can't say queer because Queer Punk Outlaws.
Oh, that's true.
So epically gay.
There you go. It's all the same.
It's all the same.
All the same.
You know what? We're the gays. We can do whatever we want.
It's true.
But I'll say so epically gay.
So epically gay. Love
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah. Real. Another real standout who's new to me. Galfieri.
Okay.
Please check them out.
Best
Horniest
name.
band.
There's
Horniest band. I couldn't believe it.
I can't tell
Like,
which are bands and which are wrestlers, but I just kind of want you to just like list up, like do a dry reading of like here's 30 wacky names, and you can like just imagine how cool they are.
We could.
The Pale Hand wrestler band.
Ooh,
We'll never know.
It's got to be a
We'll
wrestler.
never know.
Nope.
No,
Band.
Burr.
Good try though.
Honey.
Honey is
That's
a wrestler.
a wrestler.
That's got to be a wrestler.
No.
Damn it!
It's actually a burlesque dancer.
What? Oh, that was a trick question.
Curveball.
The question
curveball.
is wrong.
CPA. Both.
Both. There you go.
Burlesque and wrestling.
Now that does stand for a certified public accountant, right?
Yes.
Thank
he's
goodness.
a wrestling
Thank
accountant.
goodness.
Yeah.
We got a
Yeah.
Leo
Curveballs.
Bloom out here.
One day
Dropping
we will get CPA on this podcast, and he can
Matter of time.
explain all of his everything.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll see.
I mean, we are just slowly collecting your wrestling cohort onto the show, so
Yes.
it's just a matter of time, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Rachel, thank you for that. I'm
Thank
excited to
you.
hopefully see more of your performances in the future. But
Thanks.
let's throw it over to our guest to continue staying out of order.
Yeah.
Adam, I'm so glad you're here. What is the most recent thing you've consumed that you wish to share with the masses?
Right. So the operative word that I heard was wish to share. So I was
Yes.
confused as to like, is this something that I should curate and bring to you with the intention of sharing something that I think is neat, or literally the most recent stuff that I was
It could
doing?
be either or, honestly.
It could be anything.
I got
it used
all
to
of
be
them.
most recent, but now like we're playing fast and loose here.
All right. For I'll just do a quick shout out to one of my favorite people on YouTube. I don't know if they have gotten a shout out before, but CJ the X does really
I love CJ the X. You
absolutely
fucking kidding me?
exceptional shit.
Unhinged.
Yeah, though, like borderline performance art, wrathful essays about the necessity and the moral imperative of creative work.
Yes. And Miraculous, the Adventures of
And-
Ladybug and Cat Noir.
Did make me. I did watch a dozen episodes of Miraculous on
I
their
did too.
recommendations. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Incredible work. One of my favorite people as far as like genuinely important voices in art criticism that's happening like today. So
Awesome.
one of my favorites.
Yeah. Feral, just feral.
Absolutely.
Did you watch the one where CJ rates water?
Yes, I have. Spoiler, it's not about water, but
Yeah.
It's not.
excellent. I think that there's always that slight complication about like talking about projects that are in proximity to canceled people who usually are canceled for worthy reasons. So regardless of your feelings of Justin Roiland, the first like 10-15 minutes of their Rick and Morty episode is just absolutely the best monologue I've ever heard about like the poison of perfection and the necessity of just taking creative action recklessly. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I've been very inspired after watching CJ the X like discuss the importance of just make it. Just who cares? Who cares?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
cares?
The quote that I remember is like, if you are trying to make good work, then your cardinal sin is thinking that like your purpose is to create work that is worthy rather than just to create. Like first and foremost, create. And then there will be bad stuff and there will be good stuff, but like law of numbers, just make stuff. And that's how you get better, and that's how you put out things that are worthy into the world.
Love it.
Excellent. Well, what is the thing that you are actually bringing to feature?
Yeah, so it's going to be a double feature because they're both small and bite-sized. But I have recently just played 2 tiny indie horror games. So
Hell
yesterday we played No One Lives Under the Lighthouse.
Oh, yes, I saw you post about this.
Yeah, which was really interesting. It's cryptic to the point of almost nonsense, where it's just like all vibes. I'm sure that there is a plot and there's multiple endings, so it does encourage you to go back to it. But like, if I'm just judging it on first impressions, just vibes, the vibes are good. The vibes are really neat. The chunky, low pixel aesthetic, I think, really does a lot for just limiting your perception. And they do that constantly in a number of different ways, which greatly changes the intensity of the situations that you're in, as it starts out as just, kind of... I don't know if it's inspired by the film The Lighthouse, but like it certainly feels of a kinship.
Similar vibes.
Yeah.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah,
Excellent.
which I assume The Lighthouse isn't struck work because it's A24 and they were just immediately on board with.
Yeah.
As far as I know, either way, we won't discuss. We've discussed it at length on previous episodes.
Okay, then I won't get into it. But yeah, that film holds a special place in my heart. So if you like that, this is going to give you at least a little bit of that in what I think is a really compelling visual package. Short, 2 to 3 hours. Try it. It's a snack.
I love that. That's awesome.
And then tonight, just now, because this episode was delayed by about an hour, so I had a little bit more time than I thought to kill. So it's just like, well, let's start playing some Iron Lung.
Oh no.
And that game really appeals to the sicko in me who loves maps. I love maps, y'all. And that game is forcing you to like manually plot your coordinates blind, which is such a neat gameplay hook. Lots of words have been spilled on why it's cool. It is cool. Check out that as well. And all the works of Dave Szymanski.
Yeah, I just watched this will be relevant to what I brought today, but I watched a video by a YouTuber about Squirrel Stapler, which is one of his other games.
Right.
And
wow, these names.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah. Iron Lung I've wanted to play for a while, but I've heard that it is absolutely terrifying for the short time that you're playing it, and so I need to like be in the right, and it's also short, so like I feel like I should stream it, right? Like it's fun. I've found that I enjoy horror games more when I'm scared with a group. It's how I got through 2 of the Dead Space games, because the third one is practically unplayable. And it's how I've been recently. I've come back to the Resident Evil 2 remake. I streamed it the other night, and it was a blast, and I want to play it more. In a mutual Discord that Adam and I are in, I recently admitted that I guess I like horror games, because what I hadn't realized until I listened to a friend of the show, Dave Jackson's episode on horror games, is that, people who like horror games are scared all the time and terrified of them. It's not just the people who don't like them. That's the point.
No, half the fun of watching Markiplier all those years ago is watching him just like piss his pants.
Yeah, true.
Scream his brains out. It was so fun.
We were playing No One Lives Under the Lighthouse yesterday, and I just kept being like, oh, good, yeah, no, yeah, okay, good, yeah, no, this is fun.
Yeah,
this is
great,
this is
great,
ideal.
Great.
Yeah, no one lives under the lighthouse.
Yeah,
it's fine.
In the title. It's fine. Yeah, it's like, yeah. But so I've been actually also a game that I'm not bringing as my thing, but I've been playing Signalis recently, and also that's another one that's like just all vibes and absolutely terrifying, and also does the low poly thing, which I actually think is really good for a horror game. It kind of really adds to it.
Yeah.
But so Adam, if you had to sum up both No One Lives Under the Lighthouse and Iron Lung together with just 3 words, how would you sum up both of those games? What 3 words would you choose? And it doesn't have to be a sentence. It can just be 3 words.
Let's go with chunky, stressful, and chunky, stressful snacks.
Yeah, there you go. Chunky, stressful snacks. Love it.
Delicious. I love that.
Time to go wish list this later. All right. Cool. Awesome. Well, it's funny that actually I feel like we went on a progression towards what I've brought today, which I don't remember. Oh, I can blame our good friends Nathan Brandt and Cam Koenig for this, because it came up on an episode of their great podcast, the Video Game Robot Show. They were talking with a guest, and I think it was the guest who brought up something called myhouse.wad or .wad. For those who don't know, WADs are custom Doom maps. Doom, the original game on PC, has been been making custom maps for that game for years and years and years. It's still got an active community. It's just been like a really thriving community that's been around for ages. And so myhouse.wad came up on this podcast. I'm not going to talk about why just yet, because I think that's the best part. And so I was like, all right, I'm curious, but I had forgotten about it. And then in their Discord server, I think it was Nathan posted the video, like a video about it. And I went, oh, okay, well, I guess I should watch this. So it was an hour and 42 minutes and went, oh no, this is my ish for an hour and 42 minutes. What are we getting into? And so so the video I brought today is myhouse.wad by Powerpack, who's a YouTuber I've now become obsessed with. He's very funny, very good. And this video is him going through myhouse.wad, which he claims is Doom's most terrifying mod. Now, if I were to mention the book House of Leaves, does that ring a bell for anybody? Are people familiar with that?
I own a copy of that book, and I have been told it is so incredibly scary. I've been waiting for it to be ready for me,
And so
House of Leaves is maybe the single most hostile piece of media that I enjoy. It took me well over a year to actually get through it, because it's, oh boy, I was going to make the bad comparison that like people on the internet will be angry at me. It's the Dark Souls of books. And by that, what I mean is that it's not a casual reading experience where you just read a book. It's something that, in that way, requires you to be fully engaged at all times. Like, it requires you to be on in order to unravel this Gordian knot of a book.
And so, like, I've not read House of Leaves either, but I'm familiar with it and the premise. And for those who don't know, essentially it's a book within a book, and it's like these interlocking stories, and you're not sure who's writing what and where the story is. But like, it's based around this premise of this person going back, I think, to their hometown and fighting a book or something like that. And it's like along those lines. And so the story behind myhouse.wad is it's a Doom mod that was made by someone's childhood friend, and that childhood friend died. And when he went back to his hometown for his friend's funeral, the parents gave him this Doom mod that they used to work on together. That's just of his house. It's of his childhood home. And this is all in the mod description. It turns out, as you read the description, this now person who uploaded this mod continued to work on the mod. And it seemed like the mod was working on itself overnight when he would be between sessions, and it was very weird. And so when you play this Doom mod, and I'm not going to spoil the whole video because I think it's worth watching, the Power Pack, who's playing the mod, is exploring this house and noticing certain things aren't right. And something famous about Doom is you can't actually have multiple levels in Doom. It's a flat space that uses perspective tricks to make it look like you're going upstairs, to make it look like you're going on different levels. And this Doom mod has things behind other things and things below things, and you can't do that in Doom. And this video is the slow unraveling of this mod and how it's more than meets the eye. It's essentially a horror game within a mod, and it's brilliant, and the video is brilliant. And so I watched this. It took me like several nights to get through it, because I got to about the halfway point at like midnight one night, and it was dark, and my spouse and my dog were asleep, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this anymore. I'm gonna go to bed. And so I really recommend it. I will try and remember to link to it in the show notes, but cool. It's just, I mean, Charles knows that I'm a YouTube sicko, and like the longer the video, the better. We have several mutual friends who create stuff that is very long that we love. And so like when I discovered this, I was just enamored by it, and I wanted to bring it on here because I think even if you've not played Doom, read House of Leaves, or played this mod, you would still enjoy this video if you just like good mind fuckery. Because that's...
Oh, yeah. You're giving me like Inscription vibes.
Yep, sure. That's exactly the right way.
It's very like that meta sort of like, this game is after you kind of deal, and then there's like a whole narrative within the game of somebody discovering the game, and it's just like... What?
Yeah.
Stop.
I love
creative people, I tell you.
I love that Inscription is so well known now, because I can't remember that developer's name, but he has created a ton of stuff, including the Hex and Pony Island, which I've seen YouTubers play.
I loved Pony Island.
Like,
also big Pony Island fan. And the developer is Dave Mullins.
Dave Mullins, thank you. And so, if you like that stuff, you'll like myhouse.wad from Power Pack. The whole video is great. It's him trying to figure it out and then going on a journey while figuring it out. He also recently, his newest video that just came out this week after I started watching his stuff, was on Squirrel Stapler, because he had done an episode on Iron Lung a while back. And also those two, Iron Lung, and like, if you like Inscription and that kind of spooky vibe, all of these other things that we've mentioned today are in that vein, and you should definitely explore it, because I think...
Happy October!
Pretty much, yeah. Our first episode of October is spookier than I intended.
The most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, correct.
It's true.
And so, so that's why I brought myhouse.wad. Also, .wad is just fun to say.
Yeah, .wad. Come on. I'm going to, like, say that to people. Be like, hey, you .wad.
Exactly. They'll be like, what? I'm a Doom.
So new insult. And be like, I don't even know if I can be mad. What? .wad.
And yes, also, I should say, if you Power Pack, who has done some really great videos, you should definitely go check out his stuff. He's on the lower end of the subscriber side. He's got 200K subscribers, which is nothing to sneeze at, but he's not like one of these giant YouTube stars. So definitely go give him a follow and go watch his stuff, because he doesn't only just like dive into why some of these games are good, but the language he uses and the way he talks about it. Like he did an episode on Hi-Fi Rush, and anyone who knows me for more than 10 minutes knows I love that game and I won't shut up about it. And so like watching a video on something I've played and beaten already usually isn't worth my time, but because of how he analyzes things and looks at them, it's just really worth it. So definitely go check out his other videos as well. But I will put a link in the show notes to myhouse.wad, the Power Pack video, so everyone else can be as terrified as I was.
Hooray. Well, Matt.
Yes.
If you had to describe myhouse.wad in just 3 words, and you cannot use myhouse dot or wad, how would you describe it?
No normal house.
No normal. I don't like it. I'm like I'm a little freaked out now. Just talking about spooky things sometimes spooks me out. The moment we started talking about House of Leaves, I was like, no, I'm unwell.
Oh.
I'm unwell. I am waiting to be ready for that book to haunt me. Like I am just like, I'm not there yet. I've owned that book for nearly a decade and have not read it yet. I'm just like, one day I will get to you.
That book does some magic tricks that are very memorable. You might
have like put me back on it though. Okay. It may begin. This podcast gets me to do the things that I'm like, I've been sitting on that. I'm gonna get involved. Yeah.
Yes.
Watching shows, reading books.
Yeah. Well, now it is time to actually interview our incredible guest, Adam. I'm so glad you're here. So you do a ton of stuff.
Incredible. You said I'm
you
incredible.
You are so incredible.
Like 3 times already.
It's true.
Matt loves the word incredible.
I do. It's one of my
everyone
go-to
is
words.
Incredible.
It's true. Because, everyone should be elevated. So you do a lot of different things. You're an animator. You you design games. It looks like mostly tabletop stuff. I want to talk first because this is your biggest thing. It's one of your most recent things. Enter the Survival Horror. Essentially, from what I've heard, you've talked about is a TTRPG version of Resident Evil-ish, like survival horror-ish. I mean, it's in the name. It's like if you like video game survival horror, this is like translating it to D&D. That's an oversimplification, but could you tell the listeners a little bit about, in better detail than I can, what exactly Enter the Survival Horror is?
Sure. Enter the Survival Horror is a tabletop role-playing game that seeks to replicate like the feelings and emotions that you get from playing classic survival horror games rather than kind of a rote mechanical translation. So like the pitch is that it's a game about dark hallways and counting the last of your bullets and wondering if you've got enough to make it, through the night. It is a game about impending doom and feeling like that there is a ticking clock at all times. And I think it's really neat. I think it's got a lot of cool mechanics that lean into it. It is also explicitly inspired by Disco Elysium. If you're just like...
I fuck with Disco Elysium. Oh my god.
So if you play Disco Elysium, obviously one of the most incredible things about that game is the fact that you have all of these inner voices chiming in a chorus, giving you unreliable advice, right? And I think that that's like the crux of it. And so that is something that I found a way to adapt into the instincts mechanic, which serves both as a kind of mental health bar and also as like the different shapes of your personality. And as you experience stress and trauma, you might end up losing those instincts. And so literally parts of your personality like will go dormant and other parts will come to the forefront. Depending on the stress that you are undertaking. And to me, like the crux of a lot of horror media is not the question of whether you will get through the night. Because in most horror media, like there is a kind of heroic element, and especially survival horror media, like you do kind of expect to win. And the Enter the Survival Horror ultimately does want you to triumph in some way. But the fulcrum of it is like change. How will this experience change you? And all of the mechanics dovetail into that as a philosophy. and the person who you will be at the end of the adventure is different than the person that you will be going into it.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Shit, that rules. That rules.
It's pretty cool. It is also, and to some people, this will not be a selling point, but for me, this is a selling point. It is a game that is designed for short adventures. So it really shines in like 4 to 10 sessions worth of thing and then wrapping itself up. It's not something that's designed to be played forever. I don't think horror media suits itself to that. So
no, because at a certain point, how many times can Sidney Prescott be terrified by Ghostface? Like, you just gotta call it at some point. You know,
I mean, you already mentioned Dead Space 3. At a certain point, there's no mystery, there's no horror. The only thing that's left to do is lock and load.
Yeah. Well, and even like more recently, I replayed Alan Wake, which I love. I'm a big fan of the Remedy games, and like I remember playing the first time on stream and being absolutely terrified. And then I was playing the remaster. I started it with my spouse in the room and they had to leave. They're like, it's too scary. It's like nothing has happened. There's just like, it's dark and the trees are blowing and they're like, nope, gotta go. And I was like,
nope, bye.
And then I was like,
you go, hey, this is supposed to be scary. And I'll just go, I'm terrified. Help.
And when I was playing through it, like there were jump scares that got me because they always do. They're designed for that. But the game itself wasn't that creepy to me. In fact, on a replay of Control, which is by the same studio, that was creepier to me because I noticed more about that like kind of science fiction, like off-kilter X-File stuff that like, and so it's just interesting to me. And so like the idea of playing a tabletop survival horror game, like Into the Survival Horror interests me because I'd want to be a player in that world with other players because, again, the most fun I've had playing most horror games is with an audience, someone to like bounce off of. And like it sounds like having a TTRPG version of it would encourage just that.
Yeah, it's really interesting the dynamics that will show up because not only do you have the different players bouncing off of each other, but also each player has these instincts that I told you, which are basically the way that you perceive the world. So in Dungeons and Dragons or most conventional tabletop games, you're just like, there's something about this situation that I feel like I'm missing some information. I'm going to get a perception check. I'm going to ask about that. And like the information that you get is an omniscient source, right? It kind of exists outside of the player. It's the storyteller telling you a source of truth. And whether or not that's totally reliable will often depend on the dice roll, but the players know what the dice roll is. And so like they're kind of clued onto whether or not it's trustworthy. For this, you have a list of instincts and they come in pairs, which are kind of like two sides of a coin. So like science and occult will be one. And you might see something weird and just be like, hey, is there a rational explanation to this? Or is there something supernatural going on? And then as the dungeon master, as the director, which is the term that's used in this game, I will then give voice to those inner thoughts in a Disco Elysium style way, where they will be chiming in and feeding you their perspective, the way that, the lens through which you perceive the world. And then again, you can lose these things. So if your science leads you astray, and then suddenly your science instinct might chime in and just be like, am I allowed to curse on this show? I think I am.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, you absolutely can.
Your science instinct might chime in and be like, I fucked up. I was wrong. I'm sorry. And then your science instinct will go quiet. And now all you have is the other half of that coin, the occult instinct. And now it's suddenly going to be like, no, there's like ghosts and shit happening here. And whether or not that's true, hard to tell. It's just the way that your character is changing and evolving and their perception of the world shifts, expressed mechanically, which I think is really neat.
That is neat. I mean, it was my favorite thing about Disco Elysium. I mean, besides Kim Katsuragi, who is literally the best.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But like
this podcast would die for Kim.
Correct. But like
easily,
the best part about the detective is like you would pick one of the voices. It would explain something, and then like he'd start to agree, and you as the player would also agree, even if it's way off base, because it's like that was really convincing. Especially I played the director's cut, which is fully voiced, and so like. Just I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm curious, how do you, like, I've not actually talked to a lot of TTRPG designers. Like, how did you know this is a thing you wanted to make? Like, well, just because, like, I mean, me as a D&D player, first of all, I don't DM. I like to be a player, but, like, I could never even begin to imagine how to put together a TTRPG module or rule set. Like, where does this just come from a love of growing up playing this kind of stuff?
No. I
Interesting.
played a little bit in college, but honestly, like, I have very little memory of, like, the tabletop stuff that I did in college. Most of this is relatively new. So with the, like many people, 5th edition came out, and that brought in this huge influx of new players and new interest in it. So I got into it the way that I think you should get into it, which is I saw a monster manual, and I was like, hell yeah, monsters. I'm just going to own that book.
Hell yeah, monsters.
I don't need anything else. I just want a book about monsters. And then I'm flipping through it and I'm like, fuck, this is I do like mind flayers though. I got to do something with this. So, so around 2015 was when I started playing it sincerely and the first time I started running a game. And after that, my origin story is very familiar to those in the tabletop community, which is I ran the game for about 6 years, and at that point, all of the accumulated little annoyances got under my skin enough that I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make my own home rule compendium with all that fixes all the things that annoy me. And then 19 pages of homebrew rules later, I was like, it would just be easier to make my own game. I don't know what I'm doing. This seems like a fool's errand. But I did hack in a Resident Evil 4 style grid inventory system for 5th edition, which you can find on my itch.io page.
Amazing.
Which is pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah, it uses the way that it's set up is that it is one of those magnetic dry erase boards.
Physical inventory 5e. I see it.
So then the board, there is a printable thing that you can like fit into that, and then it has a magnetic backing, and then there are magnetic like sheets that you can cut into tiles, and then you're able to make these little things that you're just able to shuffle around the little magnetic grid. Pretty great.
Yeah. I will say it is strangely satisfying in Signalis while I'm running around. You have a much smaller inventory than a lot of other survival horror games where I can just fit everything I need for that area I'm running around in, and I just have enough ammo too, and I don't have any more space, so if I see anything else I can't pick it up, but I can go do those 2 puzzles that I remembered I didn't do. Very satisfying.
I talk all the time about how like one of my favorite things is for a game to be like, I can bring a shotgun, but I don't have enough room to bring extra bullets. So I'm going to fill up the bullets. It has got 4 shotgun shells in there, and that's it. And I just have to hope that that's going to last me long enough for what I need to do, and hope that I'll find stuff along the way. And I just think that's really cool. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. I think sometimes with gaming, when you have the boundless amount of imagination that anyone can bring to the table, limitations really help with keeping it fun and keeping it interesting. As much as I love a bag of holding, and don't get it twisted, I fucking love a bag of holding, because I'm so bad at remembering what the fuck is in my inventory. It's just like, I just have everything, it's fine, don't worry about it.
You're only human,
but like
the appeal of a bag of holding is that you no longer have to worry about inventory.
But the tension that you can have when it's like, no, you only get so many spell slots. Like, what decisions do you make when you're gifted these limitations?
Totally.
I love that. Oh, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a CPOV session run sometime, and just like a bunch of podcasters. That could be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
Going back earlier though, and this will be relevant. You asked me, how do you come up with something like this? Like, first of all, there's part of me that just has like that sicko part of my brain where I love rules, and not in like a hopefully not in a shitty way, just in like I think it's really fascinating the way that different rule sets shape behavior from a game design perspective. And so it's just like, hey, what's the core fantasy that I'm trying to replicate? And then how do I get players to feel the things that I want them to feel within that? And the very first tabletop game that I ever designed, I had a couple drinks and I got in a bathtub And while I was in the bubble bath, I wrote up like the first draft of my one-page RPG called Harrowing. And that is a very simplified, very streamlined version of like the ideas that I would then expand upon in Enter the Survival Horror. But that game is designed for one-shots. It's designed for single-session adventures and to be real small and compact. So, I ran that game for my friends at the Duck Feed Network for one of their charity events, Duckfest. And that was cool. So that's available on my YouTube channel, which basically exists just to categorize like these tabletop streams that I do.
Amazing. That's awesome.
I'd love to check out Harrowing. I love a good little one-page one-shot.
Yeah.
There's one called Honey Heist.
Oh, classic.
where you're bears.
Yeah.
And you're trying to do a robbery, and the tension of that is you can fall into being more bear, and then you fucked it up. You're a bear.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? You ruined it.
Gave
You're a
into
bear.
too much bear.
Yeah.
You lean too far into bear, and now that's where you are.
I don't know. I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 players now would say that there's no such thing as too much bear, but you know.
Well, those horny fucks can calm it down. Frankly. I'm looking at you, friend of the podcast, Adam Lance Garcia.
Yeah.
It's so nice seeing you this weekend, if you're listening.
Throwing some shade.
No, I love Adam.
Adam's the
great,
best.
Great folk. Adam's the best.
Different Adam, other Adam.
Other Adams.
no,
There's so
other
many
Adams.
Adams.
So many
might
Adams.
say too many Adams. So besides...
A whole universe full of Adams.
oh, boo, boo.
I can't
I'm
help
sorry.
but
This is-
admire it.
This is my stop. I gotta go.
I got to get off the podcast.
I think I just got fired for real.
No, I can't do this by myself. I'd be a wreck. So besides doing game design, you also do animation. I got to look through some of your reels, and you do some really cool and diverse stuff. Do you take inspiration for the stuff you design just from like what you're hired to do, or do you get to infuse your own kind of creativity into it, or is there animators that you really love that kind of have informed your style at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So, animation is my day job. So it is something where I tragically don't do a ton just for personal pleasure or just for my own stuff, because, you know, creative work is work. And when I do it all day for my job, I want to go do other stuff, which is why I have too many hobbies. And now I podcast and I game design and I do blah, blah, blah.
I have no idea what that's all about. I've never been in that position.
I only do this.
Right, exactly. I don't have anything else I work on all the time.
But yeah, I mean, regardless of that, like, I am super passionate about animation. And if you listen to my podcast, Halftone Takes, that is me and my best friend from college who also went to school for animation. And we just talk about our love of media and the realities of creative work. And we are constantly talking about the state of the animation industry, what we find inspiring, the good work that's being done. Because, like, we really are in a golden age right now, and there's just amazing shit happening constantly. And the fact that, like, this summer we had both Spider-Verse 2 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, like, amazing, incredible. Yeah. Like, what a blessing.
Yeah. Two distinct styles that were not alike, but not like standard animation and not like each other either, which was like kind of brilliant about both of those films. It's just I'm slightly jealous that you get to do another art thing as the day job too. That's really neat.
I'm very lucky, genuinely.
So have you ever thought about, I mean, like you said, there's not often a lot of crossover because you like to do the not day job when you're not doing your day job. But have you ever thought of animating some kind of like D&D related stuff, or like creating something animated for Enter the Survival Horror or things like that?
So, like, I definitely have animated like some promotional stuff, you know, just logos and like little, like, I cut together like a trailer trying to get basically like a mood board, and it's goofy, and I left all the watermarks up because I didn't care that much. But like, I'll do stuff like that. I do often volunteer my services to fellow tabletop creators. I was really involved with the Forged in the Dark community. Forged in the Dark being a style of game, so like things derived from Dungeons and Dragons are like one group of things, and you may have heard the phrase "powered by the apocalypse," which means that they are like derived from the game Apocalypse World. Forged in the Dark games are games that derive from the game Blades of the Dark by Jonathan Harper, and which Enter the Survival Horror is Forged in the Dark. And most of my stuff has at least some Forged in the Dark DNA, because I think it's such a brilliant core set of rules and just like idea and philosophy behind the games. And I could spend way too many words on that, so I'll spare you the details. But the point is that I was involved with this tabletop community, and I do often volunteer my services for like, hey, you guys are doing a Kickstarter or something? Let me make you a Kickstarter trailer. Let me make you an animated logo. Let me help you do some social media stuff. And, you know, I either do it for free or for work exchange, just because I'm a high tide raises all ships, and I want to support my fellows. And, you know, I believe that they will support me in kind, which thus far I have not been disappointed. I've had people write Enter the Survival Horror adventures for me as, you know, part of that work exchange. And it's just like real cool stuff that I haven't published because of the way the universe is, but it's in the wings, and I will get to it someday, and I'm very excited to finally share it.
Well, I love that mantra, and I mean, Rachel and I live by that as well, very much. Rising tide raises all ships. It's pretty much the oeuvre that all of my podcasts are based on. It's why a lot of my guests are either podcasters or creators, because while we are grateful to have more well-known guests when we can, but like also the smaller guests that maybe don't have as big an audience, but their audience smaller, maybe more devoted, and I found a lot of exchange. Adam and I are both in a bunch of different podcasts with podcast discords with a bunch of different creators who all kind of commingle, and it's really neat because A, we all enjoy each other's company, but B, I think it really elevates all our work because we kind of have an understanding. We kind of have like a camaraderie, and I think that's important in a lot of creative spaces, because I think especially with Twitter always being on fire at this point and being days from death every day, we need other spaces to do that, and it's why I live more on my Discords than other social media. A, because I lost my Twitter, but also because I think
you were freed from Twitter. You were given the gift of liberation from the Bird app.
I didn't realize how liberating it was until I think it was when there was drama over Starfield because the console warriors were mad that people were rating it lower because Bethesda, whatever. The point is that I'm friends with a bunch of games journalists. Quite a few of them have been on the show. They were in a Discord we're in together complaining about the console warriors. And I went, wait, did something happen? And I went, I'm free. I didn't know a thing was happening.
Yeah.
And now I could just pick out the details from you guys instead of actually scrolling a feed forever. So
totally.
You're not wrong, Rachel. You are absolutely correct. Also, it's just more fun to shit post from the Fun and Games Twitter because, it's like a sentient podcast, which basically it is.
It's horrifying. I love it.
But yeah, no, I think that that oeuvre, that mentality is really great, and it shows in your work. I mean, just the stuff that I've been able to look at and kind of peruse, and again, it's very hard for me to buy TTRPG sets or rules or books because I'm the player. So unless someone else is already actively running a thing, it's like, well, I guess I could buy this and give it to a friend to run, but it's that kind of thing. But I'm always fascinated by the different things. Pathfinder started as just a mod of D&D and is now its own thing, has a sequel, all of that stuff. And I think that what's really cool about tabletop and why I've learned to love it more and I've really kind of leaned in on it a lot more is not just because it's showing up in video games more and more. It still blows my mind that like one of my good friends who has never played a game of D&D in his life is sharing D&D memes because he understands it all from Baldur's Gate 3 because it's one-to-one, and like I never get tired of that. But I love that the mod community and the smaller indie community just gets bigger and bigger, and there are these different modules or these different versions of D&D effectively that have grown into their own thing, continue to grow, and kind of it feels like anybody can do it. Anybody can make a set of rules or create a game.
You absolutely can, and it is easier than it's ever been. Like, there are so many great communities that will be excited and support you. Not the D&D community; those guys are dicks. Sometimes.
Yeah, they suck. Wizards of the Coast
Yeah.
can suck.
In my opinion, just like when I would try to be like, "Hey, I'm going to challenge the core assumptions of this game and post it to like a D&D Reddit or something," they'd be like, no." In a way that I wouldn't get in other places. That's neither here nor there. I'm just throwing some shade for no reason. But the point is that, like, for real though, there are so many games that like invite you to hack them. Lasers and Feelings is one of the classics where it's just like, hey, here's a super, super simple core resolution system, and the rest of it is just like, how do you want to flavor it, and how can you make it suit what you're trying to do, with the idea that like you have these, you know, again, like kind of this two sides of a coin thing for Lasers and Feelings, which is very clearly a Star Trek thing, you know, on the two ends of it, you've got Kirk and Spock, where Spock is all about lasers, about being analytical, about being science, and Kirk is all about feelings. So you got, you know, the spectrum, and like the better you are at one, the worse you are at the other, right? And that's the idea. And then someone will be like, all right, what does the Fast and Furious version of that look like? The answer? It's called Cars and Family. That's hilarious.
You know, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
That's very...
I want to play Cars and Family.
Look, I've got too many games to recommend to you. I mean, from just what you were talking about in the opening minutes, I was like, you should check out the games. 1, Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Oh,
No.
I own Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
I
I
do
just
too.
need to get a
It was
group
great.
together to like play it.
it's
I
awesome.
backed that. I was like, excuse me, this is everything I've ever wanted.
Extremely fucking good.
Yeah, that and Wide World Wrestling.
That was the other one I was going to recommend to you.
Yeah. It's like both of those core books
Yes.
sit, and I'm
Perfect.
waiting.
You're
I'm waiting for a gaggle of nerds to want to play with me.
on the same wavelength.
Hello,
Absolutely.
gaggle of nerds, come play with
Play
me.
with me.
Play Thirsty Sword Lesbians with me.
Yeah, I've found in this day and age, I am backing more books and modules than I am playing. I'm in a few games, but like
For sure.
friend of the show Patrick Edwards has launched a few different at this point music-based D&D books, which have been great.
Oh, cool.
Nice. One was the
Yeah,
Red Opera, and then I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember the other one that just
Well, the
launched.
other one that isn't music based, but it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Black
The Black
Ballad.
Ballad.
It's what happens to your characters when they die.
yes, which is also very cool.
So
Yeah.
like you're down in the underworld, and this whole beautiful like underworld that they established with like its own dynamics and stuff. I played it over with Amateush Productions. We did a one shot where all our characters got murdered.
Oh, cool.
On purpose, and went down there to do a mish. And it was so fun. Like these big stone, like yeah. Pat Edwards, let me tell you, what's up,
turns
bud? I love
turns
you.
out good writer. Turns
One
out.
day we're gonna play Worms on an airship. Don't worry.
That's great.
good.
If I'm doing tabletop recommendations, I also do have to give a shout out to, in my opinion, the single greatest tabletop game that's ever been devised, which is Dread. Where
I've been sitting going like everything you're talking about, you would love Dread.
Yeah. It is the perfect tabletop experience. It can only be played in person. But the pitch is, if you're not familiar with it, there's only one mechanic in the game, which is when you are acting under duress, you pull from the Jenga tower, which is in the center of the table. And as the peril increases, as the night goes on, the tower becomes more and more wobbly, and it becomes more and more stressful to pull from the Jenga tower. And it's just like, it doesn't get more pure than that to me, as far as I'm concerned.
I just love so much that like, oh, you're under duress and you open a door, you pull the Jenga tower block and it falls over. I'm so sorry you died. You died opening this door.
Yeah, I've got some incredible games that I've run, and some really wonderful memories.
Breaks me.
It's great game. So big recommendation for that. And then also, just to put a button on something that Matt said earlier, just as far as like how many games we accumulate, how many things that we the entry level to these games, I really believe should be 0. And as a result, just philosophically, all of the games that I make are have free community copies available. And I encourage, if you are interested, just go check it out. because you giving it attention is more valuable to me than money. And then if you like it, then throw me a couple bucks. But availability is always my greatest priority and value.
Yeah, I agree. I think that access to this stuff, especially if you want to try it, right? Like I know so many friends are like, oh, I never could play D&D because I couldn't get the books or whatever. So the fact that all this stuff is digital, again, Wizard of the Coast, it's a whole other bag. But like a lot of other smaller companies and like things like itch.io, which is a godsend for a lot of things, not just tabletop stuff, but some of my favorite tabletop stuff. Like there is a She-Ra game that I can't, that's not She-Ra, but it's like She-Ra with the serial numbers filed off that I've played that was so good, and that was from
Princess World?
I think it might have been Princess World.
Boom.
Like it's just like that kind of stuff and being able to get
Wait, are you sure it isn't Thirsty Sword Lesbians?
That's the other one.
I watched the new She-Ra.
It might have. I don't think it was Thirsty Sword Lesbians because I remember if I had played that.
I was just making a joke because the new She-Ra.
They are very thirsty sword lesbians. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
There are a few games inspired by She-Ra, rightfully so. Show rules.
Oh, it was great, incredible. But yeah, I'm grateful that you do that. It's really awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to take the time to chat with us.
Thanks, Adam.
I've been a fan of your work. We've been talking on and off for ages on Discord, and it's so great to connect pseudo face-to-face via a Zoom call and talk. I still haven't rebuilt the awesome 3D printed thing you've sent to me. For those who don't know, because I did post about it for a while until my Twitter died. When Adam found out that I was a diehard Metroid fan and had a bunch of amiibo, he offered to 3D print me a Chozo statue to hold like either one of my amiibo or whatever, and he mailed it. It came out great, and he mailed it and arrived in pieces, mostly big pieces, and so I need to reassemble it, but it came out incredible, and I'm still grateful for it, and it will be displayed on my shelf as soon as I get around to repairing it. But as Adam said before, I, like Adam and Rachel, do too many things and never have time.
I only do this.
Right. Oh, right. I forgot. I'm sorry.
I'm not busy at all.
Never. No.
I'm not running ragged.
No, not running ragged at all. But before we wrap up the show and before we thank some folks, Adam, I would love you to tell folks where they can find you online. I'm going to put your website on the show notes, but if you wish to be found on the internet, tell folks where to go.
Yeah, I am Adam Bucceri. I am an animator and game designer. You can find my games at bucceri.itch.io. That is boo like ghost, cherry like fruit. If you are interested in the games that I've talked about, I would recommend checking out either Enter the Survival Horror for my flagship product. This is going to be bigger and more complicated, but still pretty approachable, I think. I think it's really cool, suited for 4 to 10 session length things. If you're interested in a one-shot game, check out Harrowing. And if you're interested in a comedy game, a game that I made for a friend of the show, Jala Prendez, is Dungeon Vermin, which is about being
I literally just opened the page for Dungeon Vermin. I was like, hello.
It's very good. It's just about being a horrible little goblin and dying many times over the course of a single session. You're going to churn through those little goobers like nothing.
Oh my gosh. The GIF you are using here on this page, I love that show so much. You gotta give. Hey, you gotta give.
It was a game that was made
Hold that door!
It was a game that was made for charity. So, I included the I think you should leave. You gotta give! As part of the description. So, yeah, thank you for appreciating that.
Perfection.
Well, definitely go check that stuff out. We will, of course, include a link to your itch.io page in the show notes, which you can then also get to his website from as well. So hang tight for a moment. We've got our final question.
And also I have a podcast. So check out Halftone Takes.
Yes.
Available
Takes
wherever podcasts are found.
It is a great show. Halftone is one word. Took a long time to find the podcast when I kept doing halftone as 2 words, but eventually found it. But it's a great show. I'm always fascinated by shows that are either brothers or best friends. Rachel and I are very close and we've known each other a long time, but I'm talking like childhood friends who've known each other a long time or really close, or brothers, because that dynamic is just bonkers in the best way. And the show is definitely that, among other things. So definitely, yes, go check out Halftone Takes as well. All right. So, Rachel, we should probably thank some folks and then ask Adam the final question.
Let's do that. Let's put some gratitude out in this world. First and foremost, I would like to thank John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Rimble to be our entrance and exit music. We love it.
We do. It's incredible. I would also like to thank the incredible Katie Bug, aka Katie Beastie, who redesigned our incredible show art, made us look even hotter.
Well, we are even hotter. Look at us.
True.
We're aging like a beautiful wine.
As we get queerer, we just get hotter. Like everyone asks,
the queers are hot.
Yes, everyone asks how I look so young, and it's like because every time you come out as something else, it just takes 10 years off your life. It's great. So everyone should be gay. Is
liberate yourself from the chains of cis heteronormativity. It looks good on you.
It does. It's true. And I should also thank our incredible per episode show artist, the one and only Case Aiken, who designs each episode art.
No.
No, I can't.
No. The grammatical sins of that demon mount week by week.
Week by week, yeah. Can't get it right.
Can't get it right. We'll never see eye to eye.
Never. Enemies for life.
Not until I monkey flip his ass across a ring.
It's going to happen one of these days.
One of these days.
One of these days.
Right in front of his kid. That kid's old enough to make memories. I'm after you.
There you go. There it is.
With God as my witness, they are broken in half.
I'm dying.
Please don't die.
I won't. Sorry. It's allergy season.
Oh, we should probably thank our
the spookiest thing of all, allergies.
Season. Yeah, we're old. Why don't you thank our podcast network too?
Yes, I want to thank the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for continuing to let us be a part of this beautiful community that is being curated in real time. You can find a listing of all of the shows, including ones that are holding solidarity for our striking colleagues out there in the world, over at certainpointofview.com or certainpov.com.
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 Got there.
Jeez, I can't. We're done. It's over.
It's
I've died. My soul has descended to hell. I am dead. I am dungeon vermin. But you can find permanent links to our Discord server where you can just go. You can go fucking roast me.
Yeah, that's true.
For my brain being so bad this week.
That's true.
Please at me and go, Rachel, what's up with your bad brains?
Please at her. Please.
Yes,
Dude, you okay? Bruh, you all right? Please do it. I'm asking you. Yeah, thank you so much. Certain Point of View Podcast Network.
You can also find links to almost all of that stuff in our show notes, including a place where you could rate and review us, especially on Apple and on Spotify, which is the place it is best to do that. It helps us get featured so more folks can find us and we can grow this lovely little show. Also, again, a permanent invite link to the Discord server. All three of us are there, and you can hang out with us and more talking about video games, TV, movies, books, comic books, music, all sorts of stuff. We'd kind of just get into everything.
Just roast me for
and
my
roast
bad
Rachel.
brains.
We're all just gonna roast Rachel in the Screen Snark.
Please, just sizzle me, fry me, cook me. It's cool. I'm mad.
All right. Well, so we can get on out of here. Rachel, why don't you ask our guest our final question?
Yes. I'm gonna switch it up because that's what we're doing. We're breaking all the rules.
It's true.
Adam, I would love to know if you could instantly and magically have any one tabletop RPG power to instantly update your life. If you could mod your life with a tabletop RPG ability or mechanic, what would you choose?
Easy question. The answer is
Good.
Flashback from Blades in the Dark. Sorry, I have to explain tabletop mechanics again.
No, do it.
No.
One of my
Please,
favorite things
do
about
it.
Blades of the Dark is that your character can expend a limited resource in order to be like, has this ever happened to you? You're in a dungeon situation and you go up and it's just like, there's a guy there at the door and he looks really mean. And you're just like, I don't want to deal with this actually. Well, in Blades of the Dark, what you can do is you can use a flashback and you can spend a limited currency, which is great and it feeds into other systems and I love it, blah, blah, blah. But you can do that in order to be like, actually, this is the guard who previously I had paid off. And so he anticipates that I'm coming and he's just going to wave us through. And then if you pay the cost for it, then the game master is just like, yeah, actually, that is what happens. The ability
Amazing.
to shape reality and to change the situation in order to give yourself an advantage, to plant something that wasn't there. This is a game about heists, and so it simulates like the way that, you know, you're watching an Ocean's 11 and then the camera cuts to like, actually, this was part of the plan all along. It's the coolest ability in games. I love it forever. Flashback.
Perfection.
Well done. And honestly, we could all use a little flashback in our lives, I feel like.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Adam, thank you again for joining us again.
Thank you, Adam.
This was a delight. I'm glad that you got to be here, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
I also would like to thank my incredibly tired but super lively and maybe brain dead co-host, Rachel Quirky Shank.
And I would like to thank my so epically gay co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. Finally,
one that was
one
perfect.
that transcends perfectly between art form and you, an artist.
And thank you to our incredible listeners. We love doing this show for you. We'd be nothing without you. We will see you at the picket lines or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
Aurora, 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 Aurora. Metal to magnet, she will be mine. Aurora.
So, I have a question. Have you ever wanted to get into comics, but you just didn't know where to start? Well, welcome to Comics Quest. I'm JD Martin, and every week I sit down with a guest to talk a comic that I think anybody can pick up and start their comics reading journey. We take a look at psychedelic sci-fi, fantastical action, heart-wrenching love stories, and of course, superheroes. So check us out at certainpov.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.